Hello and welcome back to the Grapple Theory podcast. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Now, for this week's very special guest, we're heading north of the border. We're heading to Scotland, where they currently reside. We're going to be talking to them about places like Pro Wrestling Eve and ICW and Discovery, where she's probably best known for her work. We're going to be talking to her about the She-Wolves with Molly Spartan. You probably now know who I'm talking about, and her work with TNT, how the She-Wolves came about. We'll be talking to her about her favourite music, including a very, very passionate speech about her love for Motley Crue, plus loads more, including her Patreon and how that's helped her open up in a way outside the ring as well. Really, really interesting interview. Stick around for it. Delighted to welcome onto the podcast this week the mother of chaos. It is Kasey Owens. Kasey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast this week. First of all, talk to me about your route back from injury. I know you've just coming back from a little injury layoff. How are you now? Are you back to 100%?
Honestly, I don't think it'll be, it's 99%. It'll never be truly 100% because whenever you fracture or break something, it just depends on its healing process, how it's going to heal. But I feel good.
Yeah.
I'm at training, I'm at the gym, everything seems okay as long as I keep my brace on, it's fine.
Sure. I mean, I imagine we've spoken to a few people about this, but I imagine it is a little frustrating picking up an injury and sort of watching everyone else push on and you can't do it with them.
Yeah, very, very much so. And the fact, I could give it a buy if it was a wrestling related injury, but all my injuries that I've ever had have never really been a wrestling related one.
It makes it a little more frustrating because you're like, oh, come on, I'm doing all this in the ring. And
exactly. I could understand if it was that, but it was a motorcycle accident and stuff. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you back in the ring. Obviously, this chat, as we're speaking, it's before your return to ICW, but it'll go out after that. But talk to me about ICW and Discovery's promotions up in Scotland that seem to really mean a lot to you. Do you get that sort of special feeling walking through the curtain at those promotions?
Very much so. A lot ICW was one of the reasons that I moved to Scotland. It was a debut for Fierce Females in 2012, and my sister and I had a chat with Mark Dallas, and he was really interested to bring this in then. And it wasn't really until about 2015-16 before anything really kicked off for myself. So there was a good 4 years, 3-4 years of a grind until I made my name as such at ICW, and it is very the hometown promotion, the one that really gave me a really good kickstart in Scotland. And then Disco was very, very hit and miss to begin with. I debuted for them against Sammy Jane, a common theme that seems to be with me and Sammy, now known as Emerson. And then it just seems to be that it's taken off there as well. That Alan is really, really understanding and really, really open-minded to any ideas that we've got. So with the She-Wolves coming in as well, it just seems to be a recurring theme for myself and Molly, where we come in and give the women's divisions a shake wherever we seem to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's awesome to see. And a couple of things you picked up on there I want to get onto. Let's talk about your sort of long-running rivalry with Sammy, like you say, now known as Emerson, because you've spoken about it a few times, that rivalry you've had, and when I think about you as a wrestler in terms of rivalries, the ones that come to mind are your ones with Emerson and with Viper as well. I mean, I want to know from you, do you have a sort of standout rivalry, even from ICW or from Eve or from anywhere, that for you is the top rivalry for you, the one that you sort of put treasure above all?
Definitely, any of the girls that I've wrestled that you could call rivalries, the ones that pushed me the most at the time was Kaylee Ray, but very much now is Emerson Jane, because we both have the same mindset. We're going to go out here and show everybody, yeah, we're women, but yeah, we can put on a show and we can do any match that you put us in. Give us our death matches, give us Iron Woman matches, or Iron Man or Iron Person matches, whatever you want to call them these days. Give us any match and we will go out there and we will show you how it's done. Because we both have this mindset of just push and push and push and push and push, and if it means pushing our bodies to the limit, we will push our bodies to the limit for that, because in the name of entertainment, that's what we're there for, and that's what we want to do, and we enjoy it as well, so why not?
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned that, and as someone who's, I guess, been in the industry so long, I want to ask about sort of the change you've seen in, say, women's wrestling, especially in indie wrestling, in the British wrestling scene. Because we had Dan Reed from Eve on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how, obviously Eve do so much for women's wrestling, and now it looks like other promotions are also bringing in, more women, having more women's matches, but you still get a few promotions that have like, the one token women's match on the card, and that's all you see from them, and that's not really a division. But, do you see it more now, like, or do you feel more now that women's wrestling, say more so especially here in British wrestling, is being given more of a shot? The women are getting more opportunities, sort of to have higher quality matches than they were maybe when you started or halfway through your career?
Well, from what I've seen now, like, girls have a lot more to prove. Because the standard of women's wrestling, the standard of wrestling has gotten so ridiculously high that you need to constantly evolve with the scene. Like, back whenever I first started, it was still very much, they've got 4 minutes, that's fine. But now you get women like your Lizzie Evos or Alexandra, what's her name?
Liza Alexander, isn't it?
Liza Alexander. Yeah. And Alexis Falcon putting on Iron Woman matches, and you get Alex Windsor, who has burst back onto the scene in the last year, like completely different from what she was before, showing a completely different side to her, and she's upped her level like to no end. Charlie Morgan coming back, Jetta, like a lot of big names were taken away from the scene from us through NXT UK and stuff like that, and it was our time to step up into that role and take that role and show, don't worry about it, they may be gone, they may be on to bigger things, but we're still here and we're the next one that you're going to take a note of. With regards to a lot of promotions are that it is a lot slower for some promotions to really take advantage and see the potential in women. TNT, I love TNT to bits because over the last few years, like Jay has just been so like open to any ideas, storylines, and without him, the She-Wolves wouldn't be as big as we are now. And that's all because he listens. And like I'll go back and I'll say Dan Reed. Dan Reed is like, oh, I have to thank that man for so much. Like, not just for me, but like for the entire women's scene in the UK and bringing over all the girls from Japan. That just opens so many doors for all of us to be able to go out there and showcase our styles out there and learn so much more. And I think that's what defines us more, is the fact that we don't stop. We keep pushing, we keep pushing, we keep pushing. Yes, there are companies that bring in more women, but more women don't necessarily mean a division. It could just be this person versus insert wrestler this week. That's what we look for when it comes to promotions and divisions, is storylines and building and seeing the growth of the women from their debut to world champion status. Like, are they what we want? Are they stepping up to the game? Are they working on all aspects of their game, like your promos, your in-ring work, your in-ring promo work? It's like you can cut promos backstage all day because you've got 5, 6, 7 chances to do it, however many chances you want to do it, but in-ring promos are a completely different thing. And again, that's another thing I have to thank Dan for, because I said to him, I'm so bad at promos. He's like, well, go do one then. I was like, that's how I it's with the trust of somebody like that really helped me understand where I needed to go out with the Owens twins, because I was very much Leigh is the mouthpiece, I'm the wrestler, but that's not a whole package, because without each other we're parts of a package, and we needed to learn how to be who we are without each other. And that, like, again with Dan and other companies like that, like ICW giving me the chance with Kaylee Ray and Viper and Carmel to really like evolve over time and come to the Kasey that we are today, the Mother Chaos that we have today, is just mind-blowing. Like, when you look back at whenever I first started.
No, for sure, absolutely. And it's amazing to see you've made those changes and sort of gone with it and adapted so well. And something you mentioned there that I really want to pick up on that I find really interesting is you mentioned sort of Dan's I guess influence on you in terms of, especially when it stopped being the Owens twins and you sort of went out on your own and did single stuff. Was that a little nerve-wracking at first, despite the fact that he'd been helping you along and stuff? Was it a little nerve-wracking to be like, right, now I have to prove it on my own?
Well, yeah, like anything, like you get comfortable with it. Whenever I first started training with Machine back in 2009, 2010, I was there a year or so before Leah came along. And like Leah was always into wrestling, but she wasn't really into it as much as me. She never really thought about, let's become a wrestler. But she was very much more an outgoing personality. She was very much more the charismatic one of us, like that would get people like involved with us. Whereas I'm just like, I want to go wrestle, and I'm not going to pay attention to those people called the fans watching the match. I'm going to do my own thing. So Dan really, like, I remember like our first match for Eve was against the Blossom Twins, and like Dan was like, right, okay, I couldn't really find any tag footage of you two, and I was like, yeah, because this is the first time we've tagged. So like from the growth of us like having our first debut match for Eve as a debut tag team, that like I know finally like Dan was thinking like I'm not bringing these two back, but thank God he did, and thank God he gave us the opportunities that he has, because without him I wouldn't be anywhere near the mother of chaos I am now.
yeah, absolutely. And well, we talked about we talked about Dan. We give him sort of all his plaudits, but one thing we can't give him plaudits for is the fact that obviously while you were laid off injured, he vacated your international title, which is just horrific, really. Dan, what were you thinking? But I mean, when you have to sort of give up a title rather than lose it in a match, does it give you a bit more determination to want to prove that you can get it back, to prove that you're back to your best and you can still carry that belt and carry the company?
Oh, of course. Like, I think I only defended it maybe 3-4 times before I had to vacate it, and I'm like, there's so much more I could prove, so much more I can show. Like I am a champion, and like that way where like, yeah, you're the mother of chaos. You're in this little like box right now where it's literally just like, yeah, your matches don't spend long in the ring. Your matches don't spend long without a weapon. But it's like, I don't need that. Like I think I proved it with Jeddah as she won, where I don't need to go out the ring. Like I can be just as dastardly inside the ring, like playing mind games with you. But with having to vacate the title, yeah, I was a bit bummed out and stuff like that. But there is the rule in Eve: if you can't defend it at least once a month, then you have to vacate. And I physically couldn't, so I understand why he made that decision, but I'm still not happy about it.
No, sure, but we talk about maybe potentially getting that belt back, and like you said, you beat Jeddah at the She One. So I mean, surely a top title shot is coming your way as well, right?
I would like to think so. I mean, it was the first time I've ever managed to pin Jeddah. Like the very first time I've ever managed to. Sorry, they are just getting involved in this. They have a lot to say about it as well.
That's why, yeah. No, clearly that's a passionate thing.
Yeah, they're very passionate. As soon as I mentioned Jeddah, they're like, who? No, not her again. Because she was the bane of my life for so long. But yeah, that was a very special match, that one. So it meant a lot, that match. It meant a lot for like finally getting the win over her in that. But the outcome didn't happen the way that I wanted that she won. But that's another thing. That's another story. But I just hope that one day that I'll be able to represent Eve as your Eve champion, because that, of course, is the next stop on the.
Absolutely, and that's something we all want to see for sure. And in terms of, we all know sort of again about the Kasey Jeddah rivalry in the ring. Outside the ring, talk to me about Jeddah and Eve, because speaking to Dan about it as well, it seemed like it was such a sort of validating moment to have her claim the belt, having been at Eve for so long beforehand without picking it up. And that seemed like a real sort of like a real moment for her and for the company as well. I mean, what's it been like, I guess, working with her over so many years and watching her grow and adapt as well, and obviously, sort of come back to the ring from having left it for a few years as well?
Well, I'd always known Jeddah, and whenever I first started out, I was like, oh, I missed my chance. I missed my chance to work with such an amazing woman, like one of the trailblazers for the women's wrestling in the UK. And I had a chance to train with her in WAW when I was at a weekender, a women's wrestling training weekender. And even then I was like, oh my God, it's just starstruck, it's Jeddah. And then it's like back in like 2011, 2012. So it was still very much in the beginnings of my career, and even then I learned quite a lot out of Jeddah. And then whenever Eve came back to London and we had the debut show there, and she was on the show, and I think she wrestled Nikki. No, she didn't wrestle Nikki on that show, did she? No, that was Nikki and Rhea on that show.
Yeah.
What was I saying? She wrestled. It was her and Zoe Lucas versus me and Lee. That's right.
There we go. Yeah, knew it rung a bell. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But even back then, it was like, oh my God, I'm getting to wrestle Jeddah. She's back. Oh my God. And then getting to wrestle her at BEW, and like it seems to be like another person that I've just like had intrinsically linked in my career, who is also like, anytime we get into that ring, there's different aspects that we we end up going to different levels that we end up going to that we haven't before, and like in a different sense of the word, the way that Emerson pushes me, Jetta pushes me in other ways, which I think is really, really helps me as like an all-round performer.
Yeah.
Because there's different, like, wrestling is subjective, but psychology for me means a lot. So Jetta is like the queen of psychology. Sammy Jane is the queen of falsies. Like, just another one, keep going, build it. And I just love the fact that I've been able to work with such amazing people.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Like Jetta.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then take it back, because we went off on a sort of a very long tangent there, but let's take it back to ICW as well, because it seemed like coming back from the pandemic and everything that happened during the pandemic with speaking out and everything else, it seemed like ICW was one of those companies that really got hit hard in terms of talent leaving and people who used to be there who are no longer there. Is it nice to see, because it seems like, and again, as someone who's based in London, I've not had the chance to get up to ICW since they came back. But in terms of seeing them come back, and it looks like they've come back quite well, quite strong, and got a really good reaction. Does it feel that way sort of from the inside? And do you think they've sort of pushed on from what was a really tough couple of years for wrestling as a whole?
Well, definitely, for sure. With the links with the WWE Network and things like that, that really gave us a good boost. And like, right, okay, we've got even more to prove now. Like we're being watched by the big guys here. We need to make sure that everything's on tip top. And then obviously lockdowns happened, and it was like, okay, what are we going to do from this? And I think it was from the September of that year that we started the closed door tapings, which was a very, very, very strange thing. Because initially it was like, the women's block we're in on, like, say a Sunday for like 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. we're recording all these matches, all these different promos, and that was you done for 2 weeks, and that was like 3 episodes worth of stuff that you've recorded in one day. So it's like literally like, wow, okay, how are we doing this? And wrestling in front of a crowd, it is hard. It's like, because you feed off the crowd, things don't hurt as much when there's a crowd there, because you're like, yeah, I'm doing it for them. You're there, it's a cold, empty unit in the west end of Glasgow. You're just like, okay, that hurts a wee bit more, especially as it got into the winter when it got colder and colder.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
it was just a warehouse. But like, we were lucky enough that we had that opportunity to still be able to work during that sort of thing, because everything was very, very strict when it came to COVID testing and things like that. Just like masks everywhere, everybody sanitizing. The ring got cleaned down after every match, after every block, that sort of thing. But with that, I think that allowed a lot of new up and comers to really showcase what they could do and really step up to the plate. And some of them have taken it and ran with it. Some of them have realized, right, okay, I need to work on this, I need to work on that. And then as soon as we got like audiences back and fans back, then they realized, okay, this is, because some of the girls like Ellie Armstrong and a few other them debuted to no one. They debuted for ICW in front of nobody. So the first time they actually walked out to a crowd, that was a big thing, because it was like, it's almost like a re-debut. Like, well, what's happening here? But yeah, it was just, it was crazy. I think after everything, it was just a big learning curve, and like, how to not like damage control, but it was just that way. Like, how do we move forward from this? Like, we acknowledge that things have happened. We move forward, and we show people, like, we understand, we work with these, and we keep going. And I think ICW have done that really, really well, and lucky enough for us having the asylum, that we can still put out content and still be able to work. And like, I think that's like intrinsically for a lot of the trainees from the asylum, from the Glasgow Press, like, asylum, it really showed them, like, oh, there's a chance here, like, I need to show it. And like I said, a lot of people really stood up to the plate and delivered. Like your Leighton Buzzards, Kasey Owens. Like, Kasey Owens is, wow, like, the growth in that boy has been second to none. Like, he was actually named in the PWI 500 that year. I was like, wow, oh my God, you did it. And it wasn't like that much of a surprise, because he really owned it, and he really, really did so well. So congratulations, guys.
Yeah, big up. And then, again, like you say, you sort of picked up on it before as well, and just then, in the fact that we've spoken to a few people about this, in the fact that although the pandemic and everything was so hard for wrestling, and it continues to be hard for wrestling even coming back, the fact that a few wrestlers, maybe left the country or went to NXT UK, things like that. It seems like it gave a lot of like young performers, like you say, that chance to step up to the plate and go into these spots that otherwise probably wouldn't have opened up for them.
Mm-hmm. Very, very much so. And I think a lot of people just, like, including myself, after Kaylee and Viper, aka Dewdrop, aka whatever name she's going with today, Piper, like literally as soon as I left, I just thought to myself, it's like, right, okay, I've got some big boots to fill, and I'm gonna show them that ICW Women's Division isn't just them two.
Yeah.
Like, as long, because they were there for so long, and like I learned so much from them too, and did some amazing matches with them too, and learned so much. I mean, they're my good friends, so like we like, me and Kaylee lived together, and like we all traveled together and stuff like that. So it's great to see them get to where they are now. But I'm the one flying the flag for the women's division in ICW, so like there's a lot on my back, and I'm hoping that we're doing a good job right now.
Yeah, it's a nice sort of pressure, isn't it? Like, you want to be at the top, you want to be carrying it.
Exactly. It's that way where I trust the girls that I'm in with, and a lot of the girls have even stepped up. Angel Hayes being one of them. Like, she like started off as a trainee at PBW, and like I've seen her grow since like the age of like 13, 14, and just like, wow, look at you, look at how good you're doing. You're at NXT UK. Like, wow, I'm so proud of you. And she's been amazing. Like, I love watching her growth. And the same with Molly, but like Molly's close to my heart because she's my best mate, and we're a tag team. And to see her, like, with the absence of me after having a fractured elbow during the closed door taping, so that was her time to really like shoot up the ladder at ICW, and then finally getting the Women's World Championship at the cage match a couple of months back there. It was just so great to see her growth as well.
Yeah. And talk to me about Molly. Talk to me about the She-Wolves, because I think, you know, in terms of, especially away from singles performance, people think about you, they probably think about Molly as well with the She-Wolves. But take me back to the very beginning of it. Like, how did it all come about? And was it quite an organic sort of partnership at first? Like, did it sort of seamlessly kind of happen quite well? Yeah,
well, with me and Emerson, or me and Jetta, we've always been intrinsically linked, me and Molly, because her debut match was against me.
Right, okay.
Tag matches, like intergender tags matches that included me and things like that. Her debut for ICW was versus me in the women's tournament for the title when Evil had to vacate it before the lockdowns as well. So we've been intrinsically linked there, but it was at Future Shock when we debuted as the Queen Bees. And we were there for a year. We had some fun stuff there. We realized, right, okay, we have like chemistry here that we can go in, and we can, like, we both have the same ideas for like changing and like giving a big kick up the arse to women's divisions and showing people what women can do and stuff like that. And then I was to debut at TNT in a gauntlet match versus Lana, and it was Nadia, Sapphire, Roxy, and then me. And Molly came down as well. She was sitting at merch. She was having a chat with Jay. It's like, look, we have ideas. And Jay's like, well, I don't really like the name Queen Bees for reasons. So like we chatted back and forth for about a month or two about stuff. And he's like, what about She-Wolves? And I was like, oh, all I can think of is Shakira. And then it was like, right, okay, it seems to work. We've got a logo, blah, blah, blah. And then because we trained together, it seemed to be like organic the way it happened. And then we debuted in TNT, and it's just went from there. And like I said earlier, like working with Jay, he's very, very open-minded to hearing like storylines and like what ideas that we have and how we can go on. And it just seems to have, since then, like the women's division at TNT has been the top women's division in the UK, I have to say, outside of Eve.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, normally I say to people generally when they come on the show that if you took sort of the British wrestling women's division as one thing, as a whole, as one entity, you'd probably find it up in terms of competition and quality, like with most of the divisions in the world, like signed or unsigned. Like the quality is so there, and like there's so much depth in it as well.
Yeah, because the girls have realised, like, I can be this sort of wrestler, but I can also be that sort of wrestler. You've got so many different styles. You've got the powerhouses, you've got your athletes, you've got your athletic, you've got your gymnastic, you've got your psychology, you've got your bit nuts over here, you've got your chaos. Like, they're like, just like the guys, the women's can do the same thing. And there's so many like different characters within women's wrestling that you don't really realize are there. You might think, oh, this one kind of looks like that one because their gear is kind of the same, but no, that's not all the same thing. Like I've got similar gear to Rhea Ripley, like, but we're not the same. They're not the same person. She's a powerhouse. I'm a little bit nuts. I don't like to run, but I will run. But that's the thing. It's just like the diversity. That's the word I was looking for. The diversity in the women's scene in the UK is just unbounding. There's so many.
Oh, for sure. And we've spoken about the Mother of Chaos. Let's get into that, because we've got a feature on the show called What's in a Name. And so I want to know, from your point of view, first of all, how did the Mother of Chaos come about? And in your mind, what does it take to be the Mother of Chaos?
Well, we can thank Billy Kirkwood for the moniker, because it was during like a transitional time for me in ICW. I was on the chase for the Women's Championship. I was in a very long-term feud with Evil, and then it was with Kaylee Ray as well, because Kaylee was champion at the time, and both of us were trying to go for the championship at the same time. Evil was like the bane of my life at that point. She was just always there. I was like, I tried to get rid of her. It was like, it was literally like, the storyline was going on for like, I think it was 18 months, the storyline of Evil was, and it started off at a Shug's house party, and when she returned, I had my bat, and I went to go get it under the ring, and the bat wouldn't come out, and she came out with it, and I was like, oh crap, and it just went on from there. But I kept inserting myself in like matches, I kept inserting myself in just like promos and things like that, like, you're not going to forget about me, this may be the flash in the pan, but I'm the one that's here, that sort of thing. And it was I got involved in a match with Kaylee and Evil, which led to the triple threat match where I won the belt for the third time, and it was then that Billy introduced the Mother of Chaos. He must have been watching a lot of Game of Thrones at the time, but it was just because we didn't know what I was going to do next. It was the question mark, what is Kasey? Where is she? What is going on? Is she in the... Because I was jumping in from the crowd, I was coming out from the back, I was attacking people backstage. It was like almost kind of like what's the name I'm looking for? God, his name's escaped me. Part of the Heart Foundation.
What? Anvil?
No, but he wore the crop top, blonde hair. Pillman.
Yes, Pillman. Sorry, yeah.
The names away. The names. I'm so bad with names. If they're not there, I have to go through a weird.
Well, no, it's when you said that, all I could think of, my mind went blank as well. I just thought of all the hearts, and I was like, none of the hearts ring that bell. I sort of forgot Pillman was part of
it. yeah. So it was just that way. It's like channeling my inner Pillman. You don't know what they're going to do next, and I think that's what people have come to realize. Like Kasey's biting her, for crying out loud. Like, what is going on here? Like, calling out Max the Impaler. Who does that? like, I have a death wish, I think. Like, but within the Mother of Chaos team, I can thank Billy for that. But I've taken it, I've ran with it, and I'm like, yeah, there is an element of me that I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. So let's see what goes.
Yeah, love it. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And we talked about sort of, you mentioned sort of those banes, those rivalries you've had throughout your career. I want to know, in terms of, we mentioned a few of like the sort of next big stars who are coming through. I want to know who, if you could have the pick, who you'd want to be your next bane, your next big rival, your next Emerson, your next Viper.
Max the Impaler.
Yeah?
Max the Impaler. I have followed them for so long. Like they've only been around for a few years, but I think I followed them since the start of their career, because I came across them on Twitter. I was like, damn, that look is amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, got straight on the Dan Reed, please keep an eye on this person, because I want them in Eve. Like they just scream Eve to me, and I was like, and I want to wrestle them. Like I need to wrestle them, because I could have so much fun with that match.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not that I have something to prove, because I've done a lot, and it's just for me that I want challenges, and I want to face people I've never faced before. Like, and other names like Lindsay Snow, that's somebody else that has really impressed me over the last few years. Like, there's just so many people. Like Sue Young, I never got a chance to wrestle Sue Young. Like, and I think we could have an amazing match.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Those would be the ones, wouldn't it? Like you say with Max and Sue as well, like those ones where it's sort of like both competitors are just like a little bit nuts, a little bit twisted, a little bit crazy.
Well, like I just love character work. I love working with somebody who understands their character so much that like it's that way where the wrestling is almost secondary to their telling in their story, and I love matches that do that, because to me, matches going out, I love wrestling Emerson Jane, but see if I have to keep running, I'm gonna get tired. But if see if I can tell a story, and like a lot of people go home with stories a lot more than they go out with movesets, I love telling a story, and with me and Emerson, I think we've got the perfect mix of crazy shit mixed with psychology.
Yeah.
I think I could do that with a lot more people. I want to showcase that with a lot more people.
For sure. Dan, get it booked. Anyone, get those matches booked. What are we waiting for?
It doesn't have to be Eve.
No.
Freaking out in the States, in Australia, in Japan, in Mexico. I am willing to go anywhere to make these matches happen.
I was gonna say, do you have plans to sort of travel a bit and get them sort of more out there, America, Japan, those sort of places in sort of the future, next sort of maybe 6-12 months?
I hope so. I really hope so. I would ask anybody, watch any podcasts I've done. Japan is a second home to me, and I've only been out there twice, but it feels like I could just if somebody came to me tomorrow, I'd been speaking to a good friend, Hartley Jackson. He was like, I'm thinking about starting a company out here, and I would love to have you on it. I was like, well, when do you want me? If you tell me, as long as I can bring my dogs and BT, that's fine. I'll see you tomorrow. There's my notice worked. Bye. I'm away.
Yeah.
I just love it. If you give me the chance to move tomorrow, I will. But the places I would really love to go would be Mexico, because it's a bucket list. I want to go to Mexico. I have to go to Mexico. Lita, one of my idols, she did the whole tour of Mexico and stuff like that as well. So I was like, please let me go. And I just I've been in the States, but I've not actually properly debuted in the States. I've done some customs wrestling when I was out there in 2017, but Leah debuted in the States. I'm like, hello. It's I want to debut in the States. Make it happen.
That's cool. No, that's cool, and hopefully we can see those sort of moving forward. And again, with that sort of that Eve TJPW connection now as well, hopefully that opportunity could come up there as well. And again, plenty of dream matches to be had there.
Oh yes, very, very much so. I'm just looking at the entire roster going, I could have so much fun.
Yeah, hurt.
Yeah, all at the same time.
Awesome. Away from the ring, something I wanted to get into that I asked, again, we had Nightshade on the show this week that I wanted to talk about with her and yourself as well, is things like Patreon as well, where you're giving sort of fans this, behind the scenes look at your life generally away from the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be quite cool and quite a nice feeling. And also, I'm just wondering, I guess, how much sort of work goes into, because I don't know a huge amount about Patreon and things like OnlyFans and all those things, in terms of the work that goes into it behind the scenes. How many sort of hours are you putting into making this content?
Well, that's the thing. It can be very hit or miss. It's very much you need to keep on yourself for it. I mean, there's been times where I went weeks without posting because for various different reasons, work, wrestling, things like that, and I just hadn't had time to do it.
Yeah.
But there's other times where I'm right, I'm very creative today. Let's upload 25 different videos and all these photo shoots and stuff like that. And with Patreon, I literally started it during the pandemic just to keep people entertained in some way.
Yeah.
My first welcome tier is pretty much that's £5 a month, and it's literally I'll check in with you if you want to chat, I'm here, send me a message. It's not just here for content. If you want to have a chat out with Instagram or Twitter and things like that, have a chat with me. We can get a Zoom call set up and stuff like that. And then I've got a tier which has got matches and gyms videos and things like that, just my daily life at the gym, or I'll download matches, I'll do commentary over my own matches, I'll talk about what led to this match and things like that as well. And then you've got the more exclusive tiers at the top, which include photo shoots, and then or you've got access to all. So basically, if you join this tier, you can see everything,
right?
Because if you join a certain tier, you can't see other tiers.
Right. Okay.
Content. So the gym and the matches tier, they won't necessarily see the daily check-in tier or the exclusive tier. So it's up to people which if they like me enough, or if I'm entertaining enough. Thank you very much, guys, to everybody who is involved in my Patreon. Thank you very much for the support. And because I started that as well to help with Nico, because during the pandemic, we got Nico in the September in 2020, and by the January she was really, really not well, and it turned out she had meningitis, and many vet appointments and all this money and all the rest of it, and it just really, really helped fund her treatment for the meningitis, and she's on steroids for the rest of her life. But I'd rather her be on steroids than not with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that really helped as well to help pay for all the treatments, because it was coming up to about 5, 6, 7 grand. At the end of the day for everything. So again, thank you to everybody who joined in Patreon for that, because she's all happy and healthy and most likely going to get involved in this podcast at some other point.
Well, that's good. Yeah, no, we can't wait for that. We're waiting for it to come back. Actually, it's been a while. It's been too long.
No, Lexi's died over there, and she's busy sleeping on the sofa over there. So,
well, I was going to say as well, in terms of the Patreon, it must be nice that in terms of, obviously people come up and chat to you at shows, and you're whether it's heel or face, you're very over with the crowd anyway, and that must be nice. But as well with that extra, it must be nice to know that fans are willing to sort of pay more of their hard-earned money to sort of help support you in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially whenever am I injured as well. It just helps to have that. I look at it as pocket money. I don't really do it for the money. A lot of my stuff is a lot cheaper than a lot of other people's, because I'm just literally going, it's just a nice wee thing to do for the fans. And if I bring out any merch, that they're the first to see it, and then if they want to get it in at they won't be charged postage, or they'll get extras in their packages depending on what level tier that they are, whenever I bring merch out and stuff like that, just as a thank you from me for all the support that they've given me, because again, they are spending their hard-earned money on my Patreon. And I know, and I apologise to them all if I'm not uploading as often as I should, but this week I've uploaded 3 or 4 times, so I'm doing well this week. But it's one of those things that, if life was in the way that it is now, the way it was whenever I was in the pandemic, when I was posting nearly every other day, it just happens that life gets in the way. I keep saying to myself, I'm going to go down to this show, I'm going to do it behind the scenes, when I get up in the morning, whatever, after the match finishes, I'm going to create this video, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're not really that technologically creative, Kelly, you need to get somebody else to create this for you. So I send it to other people to create the videos and then to upload them, which takes a wee bit longer. So I'm like, thank you to everybody that helps. Sandy Smith as well for all the photo shoots as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And we talk about photos and photo shoots like that. One thing I wanted to bring up, doing sort of my research for this chat, is a photo you posted just recently on your Instagram that really caught my eye, just because it was so cool. Was you and Leia and Lolo Brow?
Yes.
And that I just thought was such a cool photo. I mean, talk to me about we'll post it on the side for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
But talk to me about that, and the sort of the behind the scenes of it, how it came about, and the setup of it. How long did it take to get that shot?
Well, with the photo shoot that I was doing, it was a part of a bigger shoot that I was doing with regards to Pride. And being proud of who you are. And I was speaking to Leah about it, and she's like, get Lolo involved. It makes sense. It's going to be all this colour. She's full of colour. And she's just an iconic, she is just an icon. I love Lolo. Every time I see her, it's oh my God, you're here. I just love her a bit. So I sent her a message, didn't think that she would go for it, and she did. And for me, that was a very, very, empowering photo shoot for me, because I am a part of the community, but a lot of people don't know that, because I don't really broadcast it that much. But it's just that way where it's just it's okay, you can be whoever you are, and do this. You can be whoever you are and just embrace who you are. And it was just that way where I was Lolo is that strength that I see, just owning who you are. And if I could be half the woman that she is, I'd think I'd be very, very, very proud of myself for that. But through doing a lot of these photo shoots with Sandy, I found a lot of empowerment for me, because beforehand I was oh no, I'll never pose in lingerie. Oh no, I'll never do that. No. I'll just do my usual promo photos in my gear. That's fine. And it was actually Molly kept saying to me, it's you need to do photo shoots like this, because you'll realize a different side of yourself that you've never realized before. Whenever I did the first photo shoot with Sandy, when it was in the Killstar lingerie with the robe and stuff like that on the leather sofa, I was okay, and Leah was there, and she was giving me all this oh my God, since when could you model? I was I don't know, am I doing this right? What's going on? But from that day, it's just been okay, maybe I can do this. And there is a softer side to Kasey that you don't really see about that often, but for me, it was just that photo shoot was just all about embracing who you are and just living up to your full potential and just having love for yourself and love for others. And yeah, I just thought that photo on that day, because it was all these photos were taken before the first She One, before the first show of the She One.
Yeah.
So I still had a match to put together with Laura Di Matteo. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get this done. And I think like we did the main part of the photo shoot with me within like half an hour, and then Lolo arrived. I was like, "Oh, get over here now!" And then she finished her makeup, got herself ready, and we're like, right, okay, this is a shot that I would love to get because you look strong, we look strong, and I love the idea of this dynamic. And she's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
And that's that shot, which I think is going to be featured on Lolo's very own Titantron, maybe.
Oh,
one
awesome!
day.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, no, it is an absolutely fantastic photo, and that entire shoot, hearing you talk about it, it's one of those things where I can't imagine it's easy as time in terms of like doing it for the first time, because I imagine it's opening yourself up quite, making yourself quite vulnerable. Not just the fact that like in terms of what you're wearing, but like mentally as well. I imagine.
Yeah, because people close to me know that I've been through quite a lot of stuff in my past with like really, really bad relationships, abuse and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it's taken me a long time to accept me for me, and without BT, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. Like he's been such an amazing support for me for the last 9 years, and it was through him that like I discovered who Kelly was again, because for so many years with my ex, it was very much like I was just an extension of him, and I was like his mate almost, that sort of thing. I didn't realize who I was, and I was very young at the time. Like me and my ex got together when we were 16, and we were engaged by the time we were 18, and like it was just everything seemed to go so fast. And then I got into and then I started training with Machine, and he didn't like that, and then I started traveling and realizing actually there is life outside of this house. So if it wasn't for wrestling and BT Gunn, I don't know what I'd be doing. So thank you, wrestling, for helping Kelly realize who she is, and thank you, BT, for everything that he's done for me over the last few years, and many more to come, I hope.
Yeah, for sure, and it's lovely to hear that. That. Well, it's been lovely to hear you open up like that, and we're also going to get to know you a bit more again outside the ring, because our final segment here is called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. And this isn't about Kasey Owens now, this is about you. This is a shoot. So I'm going to send you some questions, and you let me know what comes to mind.
Okay.
So the first one is, it's nothing too strenuous, don't worry. It's nothing too deep. It's nothing too deep. The first one is my favourite pre-show meal.
Pre-show meal? This is really bad, and people are going to yell at me for this. I don't eat before a show.
No, that's fine. We have that a lot. Normally it's like an energy drink or something.
Yeah, it's literally like Monster and water. Like afterwards I'll eat, but before a show I can't eat.
Well, that's where we get into the next one, because the next one is my favourite post-pinfall pig out.
Pizza.
Nice. Are we talking like sort of like Italian style, or are we talking like proper greasy like Domino's, something like that? Domino's
or wherever we may be that day.
Nice.
Just get me a pizza.
Nice.
Like Kaylee and Kim, like they would order Nando's to the Res Gal.
Right.
And I'm like, geniuses.
Like, why have we not thought about this before? Love it. What do you get? What's your like pizza order? What's your toppings of choice?
Mine is always a create your own from Domino's. It's got onions, peppers, double layer of tandoori chicken, low fat cheese, because we always have to have a low fat cheese, and sausage on it with maybe the burger sauce.
Nice. The low fat cheese is because it's like when you order like McDonald's and you get a Diet Coke, even though you like.
Yeah, pretty much. Makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Love it. Brilliant. Well, the final one is the final food-based one, I should say, they're not all food-based, is just your favourite food in general. No matter what time of day it is, you just fancy your favourite food. What do you go for?
Something pasta-based.
Nice.
I guarantee you think I was going to say something about potatoes.
No, not at all, actually. No, most people generally say pasta, so I was expecting something like pasta or pizza.
Yeah, pasta, yeah. But if I can be bothered, then I'll make champ.
Nice, I love champ.
I love champ. And every time I go home, my mum and dad make it. And I'm like, yay.
Nice. I've tried to make it like once or twice, but I'm not great at it. But like if I go out like some sort of pub or something.
Hundreds of butter, loads of scallions, you'll be fine.
Nice. Yeah. No, if I go out and I see it on the menu, no matter what it's with, generally I'll order it. Because I'm like, I don't know how to make it that well at home.
Get more butter.
Yeah.
It needs really, really creamy.
It's really butter. It's like all butter, no potato anyway.
your ratio of the butter to the potatoes is ridiculous. Like, you've got more butter than you do potatoes.
Right. Okay. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Maybe it's not buttery enough. I'll try it next time that way. I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes.
My insides are yelling at me right now.
Yeah. Well, away from food, the next one is we're on to music because it's the song that gets me the most hyped.
Oh wow! I go through like different ones all the time. Probably. Oh wow, that is a hard one because it changes all the time. The one that got me for a long time was "Sick Puppies, You're Going Down."
Nice.
Yeah. So like, I'll probably send you the link for that one because it was one that I listened to, and it's literally just talks about like, I'm going to be the last one standing, my fist is going to meet your face, and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah.
Awesome. Well, leading on from that, the next one is my favorite band of all time. Doesn't have to be a band; it can be like a solo artist.
Motley
Crue. Love it. Love that answer. What an answer. That is a good call. That's a good shout. I'm like sort of like raised on like 80s like rock and metal myself. So like for me that's like yes, bring it on.
Yeah, that's why me and Tony are like best buds. Now that she's a fellow Robinson as well, but we always had the link of Motley Crue. Like.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them live?
Yes, I saw them on their final tour.
Which will it be the final tour though?
No,
I want that one. They're on them.
But it was meant to be their final tour, but now they're talking about actually bringing this stadium tour.
I'll tell you what, that's the one I want to see. That one with Def Leppard and Poison. That is huge.
Poison, Joan Jett, like everybody. I was like, yes, bring it.
If they bring that over, that's going to be mental.
They have to bring it over, and I will be there.
Yeah, so will I. Don't worry, that'll be.
Talking to Scotty Too Hotty last week about it because he was there. I think it was LA that he was at.
Right.
With Keegan and Taylor as well, and he was telling me all about that, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm so jealous."
I saw him a few years ago. I saw him actually. I say a few years ago. It's probably going on like 10 years ago. When they toured with Def Leppard again in like Steel Panther.
Yeah.
And like even then, to be fair, like Vince's voice live has sort of gone. Like he's sort of lost it, but like they still put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. I don't mind singing the lyrics for them. they're there, like they're in my vicinity. Like I remember whenever they left stage, and I was like, they haven't played Home Sweet Home. They haven't played Home Sweet Home, and I'm looking at Leah, and I'm like, wait, they haven't played Home Sweet Home yet. And then they came back out, and all you heard was like Tommy playing it, and then instantly I'm crying.
You're like, yes, there it is.
I'm gone. And they're all hugging me. I'm like, no, get off me. I need to enjoy this.
Well, there we go. Because you may have actually answered the next question. Because the next question is the best gig I've ever been to.
Oh, Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Motley Crue and oh fuck. Saying that though, like I've been to a few. Limp Bizkit was great.
Yeah.
Slipknot were off the charts. Like
I haven't seen Slipknot, and it kills me that I haven't seen them.
Oh, it was amazing, but it was that way. I saw Slipknot, and Joey wasn't there, obviously. So I'm like, oh. But I saw My Chemical Romance recently at the Hydro.
Yes, you went to that. Yeah. I was at the Milton Keynes show of that, and
God, they are amazing live.
Like, they were incredible.
Like whenever they first came out, when I was in my emo phase and all the rest of it, My Chemical Romance was life. And like I'd like fallen away from them for a while, and actually Molly went, by the way, happy birthday, and like going to see My Chemical Romance. I was like, wow. And I hadn't listened to them in a few years, and then when I was in the gig and they were playing, like every single lyric came back in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. Like it was the highest selling show in the Hydro.
Yeah, ever. I heard that.
Ever. And literally when you see the video footage of it, and you're like, yeah. Like, and it's crazy to think I wrestled in that venue.
Yeah.
In front of 6,000 people, and I'm like, wow, there's like 13,000 people in here right now.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Let's do it again.
I mean, they were incredible. Like, I went to the Milton Keynes one, and like me and my partner, we did like the 2 days. We did the whole weekend of it, and like the second day we were totally shattered, and even then, like we just got so up for it. But like, it was really weird for me because like it's still, I would say it's the best gig I've ever been to. But like I've seen like Iron Maiden and people like that who like put on the show, and like MCO didn't do that. It was just the songs,
like Molly introduced me to Ghost a few years ago, and like I went to the first show with her, and I was like, okay, I didn't really know much of their music, but I was just taking it in, and the lead singer, like he is charismatic, man.
Yeah.
Like he has everybody in the palm of his hand from the get go.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like if you've got a chance to go see Ghost.
The music
is amazing. Like just the show that they put on is amazing. Have you ever been to a ghost show?
No, I'm not. I was meant to go to a ghost show and I couldn't go. I got ill and I was really annoyed. But...
definitely go see it because like it's not just all about what's happening on stage. Like they fill the arena with what smells like when they're burning the herbs and like
right,
stuff like that. It starts to smell like that, and I'm like, wow, this is like totally immersive. Like, and it's just amazing. And like Papa, when he comes out and plays the saxophone, and it's like, it's just so good.
So many good bands. But that's what blew me away about My Chemical Romance. I said My Chemical Romance, MCR. Yeah. There we go. Whatever. Like, because they didn't do any of that. Like, there was no real like stage show. It was just them, and that's all they needed because they were that good.
That's all they need because their music speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Jared has found this new little toy that he likes with like changes his voice.
Yeah.
He talked about like the Joker and Batman when he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He spoke about that.
Yeah. And I was like, right, Jared, like, are you feeling okay today? And he's the only front man that I've seen put clothes on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because he started off like he was all greased up with like the oil like all over him and like a cut up t-shirt, and the next thing you know, he's got a towel around him. I was like, okay, I get that. You're sweaty. You're like, I sweat. Like, oh, it's so cold in here. And then he puts his baseball hat on, and then he gets his little jacket. And he put a jacket on. I was like, surely you're getting warmer on stage. The lights on you. You're jumping about. You're singing. And no, this guy was kept putting clothes on. And I was like, okay. I would love to know like
the mindset.
Like, I want to know what's going on in his head. Like there's something going on in there that's a bit different. Like, how does your brain work?
Yeah, no, he's crazy. Love it. Yeah. So many good gigs. We spoke about just then.
All day, but we're not here to talk about that.
No, and so many more to come as well. But I love going on the tangents. That's what it's all about. It's brilliant. The next one is it's onto movies. It's the movie that I show the locker room.
Oh, the movie! Wow. Oh wow. Like my favorite movie of all time has to be Willow.
Right.
But if like. Just movies in general, like when you live with somebody who's watched 999 movies in a year.
What?
you watch a lot of stuff. Like he's an insomniac, and he literally writes down all the movies that he's watched, and we've watched some shite. We really have. But we've watched some great movies as well. Like what was like? Is he even just trying to think of names of movies because we've watched so many?
It's too many. Too many.
Oh wow. Like I'm big into trilogy, so I love Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like he yells at me that there's only one trilogy and that's Star Wars.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
we have the argument like they have in Clerks. But yeah, I, like as long as it gets me, I'm invested. Like there was Last Man Standing or something that with Jared Butler recently.
Oh yeah.
Very good. It's very mindfuckery. And I would say watch that if you're wanting like a bit of a thriller.
Right.
And there was another one we watched, The Basement, which is just gory as fuck with no necessity needed, but it happens. But I had to get past the first 10 minutes because there was a clown, and we all know I don't like clowns.
Sure.
But, like, the best of times, Command Bolshoi. But we got through that, and that was just like, fuck me, that was something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one that I'm kind of scared to watch that's coming out soon is Rob Zombie's remake of The Munsters.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't ruin it, because I love The Munsters.
Oh, that's the thing, isn't it? There's so many that like remakes at the minute that are just being absolutely like...
so good at remakes with like Halloween and stuff, and I'm like, right, okay, but please do it justice.
Hopefully you will. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right?
Rob, do me, please.
Yeah, please. Brilliant. Well, the next one is my favourite way to relax.
Just sitting, like, after a walk with the dogs, just sitting, chilling on the sofa, watching something on TV.
Nice. Easy. Simple.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah. Easy. Like it. The next one is, it's a bit of a throwback because it's my first job.
Oh, McDonald's.
Nice. Classic, right?
I was there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I moved.
How did you find it?
Fine. I was like, I was promoted up to shift manager in there, so like I must have been doing something right. But yeah, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's burgers, but it's the most stressful burgers you'll ever make.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it now with the way that they've changed like the whole process. the ordering process. I don't know if I could do that now because I was just like, no. To me, I don't like keeping people waiting and this queuing and people ordering and then queuing for like another 10 minutes waiting on their food. I'm like,
the pressure of it.
Like, get them served, get them away. I don't think I could do that now, but yeah.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's a classic one, isn't it? Especially like when you're first starting out, like first job wise, getting some money in. That's like the go-to, isn't it? That or something like retail, like Tesco or something.
Yeah.
Nice, fair enough. Next one, I said we wouldn't get too deep, but this one gets a little deep because you may have already mentioned it, but it's my greatest fear.
Well, yeah, my greatest fear. Well, irrational fear is clowns.
Right. Yeah.
My greatest fear is just. I can't even think of that. It's going to be really soppy losing that one, losing BT.
No, that's fair enough. I understand that. That's understandable, isn't it? Like
that sounds very, very soppy, but
no, but it's a natural thing.
He helped me to no end in my life, and I don't know what I'd be without him. So.
No, that's lovely. I love that.
Kasey's got a heart.
Well, opening up so much on this podcast. I love it. Well, the next one is sort of going back to the jobs because if I wasn't a wrestler, I'd be.
Well, I'd done a business degree and I wanted to open my own alternative clothing store.
Nice.
So I'd probably be running my own store that like houses like Killstar and Black Craft, or maybe even have a like wee wrestling section and stuff like that.
Love it.
Just a fun, like initially it was just going to be a store. Then I was going like, we can have a wee cafe because all of us alternative people want somewhere to go. So like open a wee cafe, we can all come and sit and chill and like just get to know everybody and just have somewhere safe for all the little baby bats to come and stuff. So.
Nice, I love it. You need it somewhere and again, that's something you could even do after wrestling. So like
exactly.
Still open.
It's always something there. It's always something that I would love to do.
Yeah, you need to open it like right next to like a really good music venue or something. You know what I mean? So you can open late after gigs. Yeah.
It's just, I think Glasgow would be a good place because there's so many iconic venues there.
Yeah.
And there's such a big alternative scene here as well. So I think it would be a good place to open it here, even in London as well. But I need to know the places in London because London's so big.
Yeah. No, like
you branch out from Glasgow and have a wee franchise going on. Then definitely.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. Well, we need to see that happen now. I'm hoping for that now. We're going to revisit this like podcast in like another sort of like 10, 15 years.
Going to get hacked by WWE and become women's champion at WrestleMania versus Kaylee Ray, right?
Yeah.
Manifest.
Exactly. That's what we want. Brilliant. The next one is we're on to a couple of wrestling ones. It's a two-parter. It's my favorite wrestling match ever, and I want one that you've been in and one that you've watched.
Okay, so the one that I've been in, my favorite match ever, was the main event match with Kaylee Ray for the Women's World Championship, because that was the first time I ever main evented a match. Did a main event match, and first time I ever main evented for ICW, and to have that trust for them to go out and do this, and that was a fun match, man. Like I think we went like 20 minutes. It had everything involved. It was like old school ICW. It was all the shenanigans. I turned around at one point. There was a chair at my face because Stevie threw a chair at me. It was just like, okay, this is happening. Let's go with it. Viper got involved. The Filthy Generation got involved. It was just chaos.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the seeds for that starting there. Favorite match of all time. Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Purely because like my memory's so bad as well. But just to me, oh wow, that is hard, man. There's so many good matches.
There's a lot.
Come back to me on that.
I'll come back to you on that. Well, the next one, and this one I'm interested in from you, just because you've had such a long career, you've faced so many people, you've had so many great matches, but it's of course the obligatory My Dream match, if you've still got one out there.
My dream match, if she was ever to do a match on the Indies, would be versus Lita.
Yeah, that would be
if
epic.
She was to ever do a match on the Indies. Yeah.
Lita, if you're watching this, one match. That's all we want. One match.
It's one match.
One match. Come on over.
The power bomb, I will take the DDT, and I will take the moonsault all in succession.
Nice. There we go. That's all you need.
But because I've wrestled one of my heroes, and that was just amazing. That was Gilkin. Thank you, Ben and Southside, for doing that for me. Thank you so much for that. And that was just like, as soon as we got to the finish of the match, when she rolled me up, I was already in tears. I was already crying at that point. But yeah, thank you, Gail, as well for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, love it, love it. Well, the next one is again, let's say in person for this one, because on TV is obviously a different experience. But let's say in person, it's the loudest pop I've ever heard.
Oh, the loudest pop I ever heard in person was Stevie returning at Shug's house party to face Wolfgang for the ICW's World Championship. That was just like when Kaylee walked out, and they're all like, "Holy crap, it's gonna be Kaylee!" And then Aspen and Lou walked out, and they're like, "We see where this is going." And as soon as the Titantron turned to his face and he walked out, it was just boom. I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, wow, wow. I mean, it rivaled BT becoming the undisputed world champion. Hydro, like that, it rivaled that. Like, I would say both of them would probably be the top.
Yeah, and that's what you love though, isn't it? Is like that sort of build to it where you know it's happening, but you don't want to quite pop yet, just in case you're disappointed.
For it. It's like, don't like you're taking tears. He's not coming back. He's not. And then he walked out with his new big jacket on and just this fire with him, and then Wolfie hit him with like the world's greatest spear I've ever seen in my life. He hit Wolfie with like one of the best freaking reverse ranas I've ever seen. Like, and his finish was this big knee to the back of the head. I was like, I'm just going to retire my killing joke. Then that I can't beat that.
Brilliant,
like,
love it.
Stevie is somebody that is very underrated, and like he deserves to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So anybody in America, like he's out there now. Like, please, whenever he can, book him for shows or book him for seminars because he is amazing. Like, please get him booked. Yeah,
it's what we all want to see, isn't it? It's what America deserves to see.
Literally. Yeah. Well, they deserve to see me more, but we'll get to
Aside from that, secondary.
We'll get to that, but he's there already, so please book him.
Awesome. Well, before we move on, we've got obviously a final two. They're about travel, so I'll go back to the wrestling first in case you've thought about that, and if not, we'll move on.
Oh, it's so hard, man.
It doesn't necessarily need to be like, to sort of like maybe whittle it down, it doesn't necessarily need to be the best match you've ever seen. Just the one that sort of like pops in your head the most, even if it's not technically the best match.
Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho.
Nice.
War Games.
Yeah.
Was it War Games?
It was, wasn't it? I think it was War Games.
Yeah, it was when Jericho was wearing the purple and white tights.
Yeah,
that one. Because I do go back to that one because the psychology in that one is amazing. And it was actually BT that introduced me to that match, and I was like, "Thank you for that."
Yeah, nice, awesome, brilliant.
But anything with Eddie, anything with Benoit, anything with Dean Malenko, like they're like my part of my Mount Rushmore, including Undertaker.
Nice. Yeah, all the technical ones. Yeah.
Malenko, Benoit, Eddie, and Taker.
Yeah, I mean, Taker's in terms of style, Taker is the odd one out there, right? Like,
yeah, purely because character.
Yeah.
Like, able to be this character for so long and like understand the nuances that should be in. So like people should really like take note.
Yeah.
Like even when you met him in person, whenever I met him at the Inside the Ropester, it was still Taker. Like he didn't smile for the photos. He wasn't really like. When you seen him on his documentaries and stuff like that, where he's having a laugh and a joke.
It's weird now, isn't it? Now that he's dropped it, now that he's fully dropped the persona, it's weird to see. Like,
I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like it.
Who are you?
It's like, no, you're not Taker. Mark, go away. Yeah. Like, bring Taker back.
So random. It's so weird to see now. Yeah. It's so weird that he's dropped that. Brilliant. Well, again, we've got final two, and they are about travel. It's the first one's my favourite place in the world.
Japan.
Nice. Any specific like city or anything?
Well, I was lucky enough I lived in Nishi Kawaguchi when I was out there for 3 months with Ice Ribbon, and that just became home because that's where I was there for 3 months. And then we lived in a place called Kinstro for Stardom, but just Tokyo in general, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
I love it. Like we spent time at Harajuku and stuff like that as well. And then we went on a trip with Ice Ribbon to a place called Minami Sanriku.
Right.
And that was a place that was devastated by the tsunami. And we went out there just to provide entertainment for them, just to help them forget their everyday lives just for a minute and stuff like. Because they're still very much rebuilding out there. There was buildings still like dilapidated. There was boats in the middle of the road still and stuff like that. So it was very like eye opening when it came to seeing that. Like even years after, it was like 4 or 5 years after the tsunami, it was still rebuilding. So if we could provide that entertainment for them for a wee bit, then I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. Yeah. And let's say not Japan for this answer, because that could be a bit of a cop out, but it's my dream holiday destination.
Oh wow! Like I've always said that I would love to go to Thailand. But I would like Bora Bora, like I would love to go to Mexico, like just Cancun. Like we plan to go to Cancun next year, so we're gonna have a wee look at that and stuff. So just I just want to go see places that I've never seen before, because I've done the States. Like I've been to the States a few times with my family. Like I've been to Washington, I've been to New York, I've been to Phoenix, I've been to San Diego, Las Vegas. So I've done quite a bit there, but I would love to go to LA.
Yeah.
Purely because it's LA, and I want to go to the Rainbow Rooms and everywhere like that. So
yeah,
just follow Motley Crue around.
Are they here? No.
If I see Mick Mars about, because I need to meet that man before he dies.
Oh, Mick Mars is such a legend.
Like I need to meet that man before he dies, because I'm like, you see him on stage now, and he's literally just a wee statue, and it's like it's all hobbled towards everybody and stuff. I'm like, oh, just take you home.
He is a treasure. Everyone normally says it's like the other three, like Vince and Nicky and Tommy, that are like the rock stars in Motley Crue, but it's Mick. Mick is the ultimate.
Yeah, he's a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
He always has been. Like I feel like some sort of connection there. Like I'm quite grumpy myself. So, yeah.
Love it. Brilliant. Well, Kasey Owens, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's been such a pleasure having you on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, I've enjoyed a lot of it. As you can tell, I've laughed quite a bit.
Well, I'm glad. That's always all right. That's always all right. That's always all right. Brilliant.
I haven't bored you with my stories.
Oh, absolutely not. No, never. It's always enlightening, and that's why we wanted to start this podcast. We want to know sort of those stories you don't normally talk about on, like, say, other podcasts, and that's what we love.
Like with a lot of podcasts, like if I'm feeling it, I'm very like open to talking about a lot of stuff. So you made it very comfortable. Thank you.
No, well, I'm glad. That really means a lot. Thank you so much. We always end every show with giving our guest one final bit of promo time. So for the rest of 2022, for into 2023, Kasey Owens has dominated British wrestling for so long, but why, if someone sees you on an ICW show or TNT or EVE or anywhere else in any country, why should people come and check you out? Why is Kasey Owens going to continue to dominate British wrestling for the rest of 2022 into 2023 and beyond?
The simple answer to that is you never know what's coming next. You don't know what Kasey's going to do. I don't know what Kasey's going to do. So let's see what the surprises I hold in store.
Brilliant. Perfect. That is a great place to cut.